All right, so now we have a couple of user-submitted hot takes, but first I want to consult our best friend, who is last named Schmolin, ChatGPT.
Yes.
We asked ChatGPT for 4 hot takes, and we're going to talk about whether we agree or disagree. This should hopefully be shorter because there's no one to push back if we both have the same opinion. But keep in mind, ChatGPT doesn't pull this out of thin air. ChatGPT can only know what has been publicized or put out by people, by the information that it has. And so a lot of these takes, you might say, oh yeah, nobody ever thinks that or whatever, but given that it can only pull from what currently exists, it's safe to say that there are some people who have these opinions about film and filmmaking.
Indeed. Language learning model.
Yes. So the first one, film school is overrated and mostly unnecessary.
I think we've discussed this a lot on the
Yeah,
podcast.
we've talked about this in depth. Just a brief overview. Okay. This isn't a hot take now, and I honestly think because there's a huge amount of discourse of film school being overrated, I think currently film school is perfectly rated. So I will disagree with ChatGPT. He says it says mostly unnecessary. That's not okay. I disagree with ChatGPT on this. Film school as a concept, of course, neither of us have gone. I did, but then left after a semester. I think right now it is perfectly rated because there are so many people pushing back on film school, and I think there are very important aspects of film school if you need them. If you can't network effectively, if you don't know where to start with the technical, if you learn better in that controlled environment than doing it out on your own. As a whole, I don't think I needed film school, but I could be wrong. Some people do think they need film school, so I'm just gonna disagree with the wording of GPT on this, but I agree with the sentiment that it should not be a default path.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's overrated for some and worth it for others. That's always been my stance. I mentioned it on the podcast a couple times. For me, I didn't find it to be useful, so that's why I didn't go.
Cool. Next up. Okay, here we go. Indie films are just as formulaic as blockbusters, but just with different aesthetics.
I 100% agree.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, not much to be said there, I guess. But like, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's very. There's a lot of memes about the fucking cliche of a character waking up with an alarm and smacking it and shit. Like, there's not to say that cliches is what it's talking about, but I think that there's only so much you can do with a short film. And because of that, you're going to see a lot of the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Even if because this isn't just about short films, this is extending to features too. Like, indie is the very definition of independent film is if you aren't at a place where you can get a studio to buy what you're selling. Just the very definition of it. You can make the argument that blockbusters are infinitely more formulaic because they need to be way more marketable than independent films to make their money back. But as a whole, I would agree that most people who make indies have a goal to make it up to a studio film level someday. And so what they're doing is reflecting that ambition.
Yeah.
Next up, editors are the true authors of films, not directors. What do you think about this, Mr. Director?
That's a tricky one because I think that like I disagree. I think that an author of a film, no, because an author definitionally is the one. Their authors have editors who actually trim out shit in their books and rearrange shit for them. It's actually very similar to the process for using a non-linear editor. So I think, are they the authors? No, not technically. Do they dictate a lot of the message? Of course. And do they change a lot of things after the fact? Of course. And I think that's good. I think it's good to have editors on set also, or someone who can at least effectively communicate to the editor. But usually it's the director who also is kind of with the editor. And if the editor makes a film completely on their own, the director's going to say, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's not what I want. So I disagree.
Yeah. I pretty much agree with everything you said. Um, I think it was glazing Tarantino again this episode, but I think it was Tarantino who said like the person in true control of the movies of movies are the people who touch it last before the audience sees it. So, by that vein, the person who operates the film projector is the most important person in the
Yes.
film pipeline. Because, fuck, I don't know. Theoretically, I could just take your film and cut out half of it and then just throw it on the projector and be like, wow, this was shit.
Yes.
But for the, I basically agree with everything that you said regarding that.
Excellent.
Last one. Most film festivals are just pay-to-play ego boosts.
Oh well, yeah. When like obviously,
Okay.
for the in for like what I said earlier about like the
I'll also real quick. I disagree with this. I see where it's coming from. However, the upside of going to a festival is meeting people. If you're talking about virtual festivals or festivals you can't make it to, 100%, 1,000%. But there is immense value in being able to go to a local film festival with a lot of filmmakers who you have the potential of working on projects with in the future. And if you go to it less with the mindset of I'm here to show people my film and more with the mindset of I'm here to watch other people's films and network with them, then I think film festivals have immense value.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that part too, but I think that a lot of the time when you go to a film festival, you kind of see the same people over and over and over again. I'm not going to name this festival in particular, but I remember one of the first ones we went to, it was like, it was just like a lot of people who were either like old or didn't actually like want to pursue. They were just hobbyists.
Sure.
And I think at that point, if you're not really there to like actually network and expand your network and get to know more people to make bigger and better films or to work on bigger and better films, I think that you're probably just doing it for validation. And for the fun of it too. It's not bad to say it's an ego boost. Part of getting your ego boosted is also having fun. If you're going to fucking go to a roller, like a theme park, you're probably going to feel good. You're probably going to have like a bit of an ego boost. Like, oh yeah, like fuck yeah, let's go. Like I'm so awesome. So, that's just like a part of it, and I think that like, it's not bad to say it is an ego boost, but I think, yeah, largely most film festivals, 99.9% of them are not Sundance. They're not Tribeca. They're just going to be these little festivals that you kind of go to. Martin and Naya, I am not talking about yours. Please accept I study people for a living for your consideration.
For your consideration. We need to do an ad campaign for your consideration.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there is, like, the diminishing returns of going to the same festival multiple times is crazy. I will agree with that. But yeah. I think, because we have worked with multiple people that we have met by just meeting them at film festivals.
Yeah.
So I think boosting your ego is, of course, an aspect of it, but I don't think it's the sole aspect of it, especially if you go into it with the intention of something other than getting your meat stroked for however long your film plays for.
I will say that, like, the part I remember the most about seeing I'll See You Again at the Great Film Club is just, like, literally afterward, people came up to me and they said, like, dude, the film, it like looked amazing. The scene where he gouges his eyes out is like devastating. And like they're like you have a very good grasp on like what grief can feel like. Maybe not, obviously it's extreme, but and like, did that get to my head? Yeah. And did I make a shitty 14-minute long film about nonsense afterward? Yeah. But like, I think that like, it's fun. It's nice. It's nice to hear people glaze you. And again, maybe it's fake because okay. Also, this is another aspect of it too. Film festivals are like huge glaze fests of like, oh my god, that was so good. Yeah. Even if they don't actually think that too. So I think for also that reason, on top of that would be didn't really touch on. I think that it just seems to be
that aspect of it.
It's super glaze worthy.
Yeah, that's fair.